Hey, I'm Amos, aka the Western Style Guy, and this is another episode of Let's Play Baroque. Let's get right into it. That was quite a doozy of a cutscene that we ended on, huh? Lots of interesting things mentioned there, such as the real atonement for our sins. And an implication that all we did in that last episode was just a simulation. Presumably we're now out in the real world. So let's see how the real world stacks up. For example, what's Sentry Angel like in real life? It's not allowed. You can't pass through here. I was told that I'm allowed to kill you guys, but I wouldn't want to do such a thing, so stop it. Kinda the accurate simulation. I think he's just as much of a wall in whatever we experienced last time. How about... what was Neck Thing? Neck Thing's here. How about you, buddy? Can you not stare? Say something already. Can't you speak? I don't know that I can, actually. I can punch you, but I don't think you would like that. And Horned Woman? Horns, who are you? Are you saying what I think? Stop. Can you stop? So that's one of the few things that I know about the premise of this game past last episode, is that the Horned Woman does seem to be mostly repeating the player character's thought. Which is why if you hit her, she says, "What am I trying to do here?" Sack thing. The members of the Malkuth Order were speaking. They said the sense spheres congregate in the lowest layer. It is there that the world accumulates, and it is from there that the world is released. And I don't remember if Malkuth Order or sense sphere, the phrases came up last episode, but they certainly come up in Baroquism Syndrome, which is the prequel short stories to Baroque. The Malkuth Order being what the Sentry Angel and presumably the Archangel belong to, and the sense spheres, I think, are these things. In the short story, which I've read at this point, I've read it in between recording this and the last episode. I don't think it like spoils anything, but it does flesh out kind of the backstory and the premise of what's happening. We are on Earth here, in a sort of, probably most people would call it a post-apocalyptic setting, but I think that's that's up to personal preference. But certainly Earth has shifted from a sort of near future, present day type of situation to whatever is happening now, and the sense spheres, to my understanding, do seem to be very directly responsible for that. We still have fish in the real world, same as in the simulation. So as I said last episode, the every enemy, every grotesque has two official names. And now that I think about it, I'm not sure if that's accurate. They have a name and what you could potentially interpret as a title, because every grotesque is associated with a specific card in the major arcana. So for example, the fish are named Moon, and you'll never guess what major arcana they're associated with. It is in fact the Moon. Hey, Coffin Man, feeling lucky? Well then, please come on over here, god damn it. Sorry, it'll only take a moment, god damn it. If you die, you're all mine. If that's alright with you, please dive in, god damn it. So what it'll be? The coffin they've prepared for you awaits. So this is... Coffin Man's a funny guy. Cause he tells us this is a trap, which kind of makes him a little bit more honest than Patches in a Souls game. However, Welcome. Please enjoy my Dungeon of Terror tour featuring... I had to fight the moon here so I couldn't read it out. But basically, the Coffin Man's traps, to my understanding, serve as the game's tutorials. We get these little mini dungeons that he made himself, with very tiny versions of grotesques. I'm not sure how he convinced them to come in here. By the way, the tiny jumping guys, those are called grooves. And the major arcana they're associated with is the major arcana of filth or waste. Which, you know, the tarot-minded among you might be saying, wait a minute. There's no such arcana. There's no waste arcana, I'm pretty sure. I remember getting into tarot in my early 20s, and I'm pretty sure there's no such thing as a waste arcana. You would be correct. For some reason, that is the only enemy in the game that has a fake arcana associated with it. I like that this has a different tile set. Old is a sword that... I guess every item works this way. Every old item works this way. It becomes weaker the more we swing it, which means I probably want to save it for later. I'm not sure if a tutorial is gonna be like hard enough for me to need to save up items for later. I keep the rooms of this dungeon stocked with items. Please be grateful for this kindness. God damn it. I think Coffin Man is meant to talk with a strange dialect that comes across as both polite and rude at the same time, hence all the goddammits. This enemy is the Empress, and the name, and this is a sort of romanization, is that what you call it? Englishification, localization, let's call it, issue for me, because I believe a katakana, if I'm remembering correctly, it's just Buruga, and the Nerve Tower fan site refers to those enemies as Bulgar, but to me, I feel like vulgar, like vulgarity, might be a name that makes sense. But that's just me extrapolating. Something I didn't run into that much in my first episode is there is wall collisions. Like, if I swing my sword, if I hear that clash, my sword hit the wall and I didn't actually get the hit. I don't remember if that happened to me in episode 1, but certainly something I have to keep an eye out here in Coffin Man's coffin. Okay, that's the way through. It's an interesting idea. Coffin Man's Enterprise in character is an interesting idea. And it's also an interesting idea for the game's tone. To have the tutorial be explicitly a death trap. It's also interesting. Coffin Man does not offer his services, these services I mean, when we're in the simulation. So if you are playing this for the first time ever and you've never seen... Sorry, since VT recovers a little when you pick up the idea Sephiroth of Grotesque, please collect them, goddammit. So these orbs aren't just orbs, they're idea Sephiroths, which are a fascinating name to me. It sounds very cool. It kind of makes me think, is that their consciousness in the orb? I genuinely don't know. Anyway, if this is like your first roguelike ever, which 98 Japan, you know, it could be. It could be if you never played Turneko or anything. You can very well die in the simulation. However, the negative effect that of a definite simulation. It doesn't seem to me to be like anything. I genuinely don't think you change anything in the game state aside from getting a different cutscene. It's not significantly different, but it's different enough that I will be splicing it in here just for comparison's sake. So yeah, mostly we're just quite surprised by the fact that you could die in the simulation. The text doesn't change too much, but there are, I think, some images that flash during that. I don't think I remember during the passing the simulation cutscene. And if Nerve Tower is to be believed, and they seem to have a pretty thorough understanding of this game, I don't think winning or losing the simulation affects the rest of the game's path. Which, it would be funny if it did. I don't really trust this orb. Baroquism syndrome has kind of instilled into me a distrust of orbs, but there's nothing else to do here. Ah, fuck it, let's go for the bone. But I guess that's the escape. I wonder if that was a sense sphere, because we bump out of here. What did we get? Oh, actually, the fact that we keep our items at all is quite cool. Fully recovers your defense if you do not need recover. Your def max raises by 1. I don't see a reason to not use that right now. And a seed, 30 vitality, and a bone. Details unknown. Hey. Huh. I don't think that was a thing back in the simulation. That means there's unidentified items. I guess that makes sense because there's ID parasites. I thought the ID parasites were just for weapons to see if they were cursed or not. Interesting. Let's use this opportunity to eat the seed and raise our vitality by another 10. And let's say hi to Coffin Man. Your coffin is pointless now. You're useless. Shrugs. Why didn't you die in my trap? Fair enough, I would be pissed off too. It's funny, but he's like kind of guaranteeing himself a steady income of newbies by doing that. So these are the sense spheres, I think. That's my current theory, is that these are sense spheres. And this guy is part of the Malkuth order. Can you remember anything? It seems you're having difficulty speaking. However, if that's only as far as your problems extend, then you must think yourself fortunate. You should have already learned what you must do. It seems you understand your responsibility, do you not? You do know what must be done in order to atone for your sin here in the real world. Use it. Don't you dare give it to anyone. There's significance in you using it. And I do think the emphasis there is in you rather than using or it. So, in one of the interviews, and I believe the pre-PlayStation release interview, Kazunari Yonemitsu kind of summarizes the plot as saying it is about a man who has feelings of guilt in place of memories, which to me makes him one of the most relatable video game protagonists I've played as. And I guess we're starting to see some of that. Also, the end of simulation statement that the real atonement for sin begins here. Not clear on what the sin is, but we did do something wrong. The Malkuth order in Baroquism syndrome is... sorry, that interrupted my train of thought. The little baby. I don't know who the little baby is. But what was he talking about? That genuinely threw me off. Oh, the Malkuth order. So, Baroquism syndrome, I'm not gonna like say the entire thing because it's not that long a read. If you're interested, you can read it, and I don't mean to like spoil the entire thing before you do. Details unknown on a coat. I kinda don't want to put this on because what if it's a coat that kills me? So the sense spheres are a perhaps invisible phenomena. It's visible to some people, and it seems that contact with the sense spheres kind of unhinges people from reality. Okay, I should not have stepped on the suicide bomb. I suppose I was expecting a recovery for some reason. Anyway, coming into contact kind of starts unhinging you from reality, and the increasing amount of sense spheres in the world leads to deterioration of the world state, as I think where how we get from sort of late 90s Japan to Baroque. Is this room looks like the room where I saw a hallucination in last time in the simulation. Maybe it's just a room. Hey, Archangel, what if I throw the coat to you? Can you give it back? Hey, can you give it back? Can you? He's not gonna give it back to me. That's okay. Hey, this is crazy. Can I just... Oh man, I just got like 20 vitality from that thing. And HP. That's great. Resistant to fire attacks? We'll equip that. So anyway, the sense spheres cause people to like start behaving in odd ways. Frequently quite violent / like cruel and malevolent. And you know, things happen, we end up here. The Baroquism syndrome short stories, which I will be probably talking about in more detail in future episodes, so you can treat this as a heads up, but you can go ahead and read it. Contains equipable items. When opened, it may unequip your gear. I don't see that being like bad for us, because it doesn't can be equipped on this floor. Oh, that's bad. The translation buried the lead there. It unequips your items for the rest of the floor. Anyway, you can take this as a sort of a heads up that the reading club starts here, and you can... Do you remember? Do you remember her scar? Have we forgotten the origin of that scar? Okay, I guess the real life is more full of jump scares than the simulation was. First the little babies, then that face? I think that's me. I keep losing my train of thought. I keep forgetting what I was saying. I was talking about baroquism syndrome, and I was saying that, you know, read it through next time. It's like not even an hour, I think, to read the whole thing. Well, I don't know what your reading speed is like. It might be more than an hour. It's all available in the Nerve Tower. And it starts with, I would say, like the first appearance of sense spheres, and it ends with the creation of the Nerve Tower. And it feels to me like there's maybe a couple of steps more in between the creation of the Nerve Tower and where we are in the game. But presumably that will be elaborated upon as events occur on the screen. If absorption is a sword that gives me lifesteal, it may become stronger too. Ooh, that's a great sword. Oh hey Cryptangel, can you give me back my shirt? I guess you don't want to give me back my shirt. How about if I give you a box as well? No, you dodged that. Can you stop fucking around? Is he mad at me because I hit him like 8 times? He might be mad at me because I hit him 8 times. Realistically speaking, that might have occurred. I don't really know his logic procedures. Item's full already. I'm going to drop this bone so I can pick up the average meat, and I want to eat the average meat. And I guess let's go further into the dungeon. No idea how long the real thing is either. The simulation was 7, but presumably that's probably, if I had to guess, it's probably shorter than the real thing. Next floor, BF2, let's continue. Oh, okay. Can I equip? Yes. I'll throw the pathetic sword because there's no reason for me to have it anymore. Because I have something that's nearly as good and it lifesteals. Having a lifesteal this early on in a roguelike. What's lucky? Increases the frequency of crit. How did I not equip this already? What should I do with all of these? I guess I could eat the bone. Okay, your evacuation. Which is good because now I can hit sword and put you all into one stack. What does Big Bang do? Has an explosive effect on all the grotesques in the room. Oh, right. I showed you guys the combo last video. I forgot already. There's so many new things for me to take care of. Are you an enemy? You would be attacking me by now. Eliza. Please. Huh? Yes! I'm so smart. Please leave. Sense sphere. Restore. Huh? Here in this place, my cannot in the depths again. Are those sense spheres? Okay, I kind of don't have a stomach to be sitting around thinking about that stuff, by which I mean literally like my vitality is a little bit that. Who's Eliza? I guess put that up as another mystery to explore. I have to assume we'll be getting a lot more questions before we get any concrete answers. So the Malkav Order is... Damn, 12 HP absorbed. That's pretty good. The Malkav Order is sort of a... I wouldn't call them explicitly a doomsday cult, but they do show up after, like, the world kind of starts turning sour. Sorry, that said erotic. So they're basically a doomsday cult in my book. The enemy we just fought, the big whale, you might be not too surprised to learn that that is, in fact, the Wheel of Fortune. And his actual name is Kato. Okay, we need to do some inventory management. What if I gnaw on this bone? You're also evacuation. Your experience, that's pretty good. You're also experience. You're also I feel like I really lucked out there. If this was like a net hack or even like a dungeon crawl stone soup, I would probably be like 5 different types of poison by now. What's erotic? When in lust, you will achieve max sword speed and your crit rate will raise. Brand. I guess if I wanted to, I could make myself erotic. Which I don't know if I'm really like chomping at the bit to become that kind of person right now. I'm far too busy. I could not be erotic at this particular juncture. Lucky makes it easier to land critical hits. Take it or leave it. I'm gonna drop it for now because we have an assault booster, which raises the attack of the equipped sword by 1, which if we can make the absorption sword slightly stronger, that's gonna be fantastic for us. I'm also gonna say goodbye to the old sword. Or at least one of the old swords. That's a trap in that direction. Have I explored this one? I guess I haven't. Quite interesting working with such a tight inventory space restriction. Paralysis and the Grue. Paralysis would be useful to have because what if I get like stuck in a room with a bunch of them? Maybe I don't need the second old sword and I pick up the paralysis. And I'm doubling back around because that clearly just loops back to where the staircase is. So I was looking up the composer for this game, Masaharu Iwata, because the interview where he described the process of working based off of Yonemitsu's poetic, indirect suggestions for what the music should be, I became interested in what the rest of his work was like. And I was quite surprised because, well, first of all, he's quite prolific. Second of all, I looked at the list of games he was working on, or he had worked on, and what immediately stood out to me is he worked on both Fantasy Zone and Tactics Ogre. Which are... Well, first of all, they're quite good games with good soundtracks. And I like those games. But second of all, those are quite disparate, especially if we put BAROQUE into the mix as well. When do they drop? I probably don't need the stamina sword. And then I looked at the rest of the list, and he has worked on Dodonpachi Daiojo, he's worked on Mushihime-sama, Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 12, Odin Sphere, and a bunch of other stuff. It seems that he's like a frequent I'm not gonna say frequent collaborator with Hitoshi Sakimoto. I think it's a co-worker thing. I think they're like part of a composing company. But I was very surprised by how many games that I really, you know, hold dear and close to my heart he has worked on. A brand with the ability to appraise items identifies all items. Just a full ID scroll? Nutritive, what do you do? Alright. Full restore, that's going to be fantastic for us. And we have 2 bones that we don't know anything about. That's a score. I'll take a nutritive and a full inventory ID. But it was fun learning about that, about Iwata's, you know, career and seeing all the cool games they worked on. Not the sole composer for most of those, I think, but definitely one of like 2 or 3. Which is very funny because if you read the interview that he had about this game, he paints himself as such like a slag. Which maybe is like a humility thing. But he almost makes it sound like, oh man, it's like a wonder I managed to do anything for Baroque. He's like, I was just putting off work all day long. I was not hitting any of my deadlines. I was stressed out all the time. I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. It's very funny. I have to assume that it's a humility thing because so far what I've heard of the soundtrack is quite good. Man, forget the life steel sword. I would love a meal steel sword. Oh hey, ask and you shall receive. We got a bunch of hearts on the ground. Vulgars, again, that's probably, that attack is also part of why I want to call them vulgars. Should I, you know what? Okay, let's max out our VT. I'm going to drop you, so I can pick up the seed and the seed. And no, it would be a waste. It would be a waste actually. I am going to eat the seeds now. I would do that if my health was low. I was considering just hitting the nutritive and you know, using the effect that happens when you have max VT and you eat the VT restoring item. But I'm actually not that low on my max. That's surely not an enemy. Okay, can you guys let me through? Thank you. Okay, I need to take care of this one before I talk to... Sorry, I just said I can't talk to you now. A little busy clearing the room. Another seed, hey. Our food worries are going out the window. Master is haunted by that large scar from so long ago. Alas, pitiful. I'm sorry for hitting you. There's a scar on Master's waist, yes. A large scar under your clothes which is not caused by the great heat wave. Okay. Interesting. I had that line, right? I saw the ghost that mentioned the scar. And as for the great heat wave... Wait, I thought I threw the bone. Oh, wait, never mind. I don't know what the amount is until I identify it. That's interesting. The great heat wave, I'm gonna say, is maybe a piece of why the world looks the way it does. I don't know what it was, but that name is quite descriptive. Raises the defense of the equipped code by 1. The beast isn't anything special. I'll hold on to that for you now. Maybe we get a better code later on. It's great heat wave. And the scar is also something to think about. I'm no like genius of medicine, but that would be like a most likely like a gastrointestinal thing, right? Around their waist. I have no idea. Okay, this guy, the guy that I hate because he steals my cool items, this guy's name is Gliro, and as he is bright red and has yellow eyes, you might not be too surprised to learn that he is representing the Devil Arcana. And I will say giving all of us a bad name by just stealing items in plain daysight. If I was him, I would instead come up with a really elaborate, maybe, you know, something involving contracts, but I would come up with a more elaborate way to get items from the player. Just yanking it from an inventory is so uncouth, you know? Also, I have so many experience bones, I think there's no good reason for me to not use them. I think when I get to the next floor, I should just, like, pop an experience bone and reap the benefits. Become stronger than anyone can imagine. This is cool, though. The storytelling through, like, talking to NPCs in the dungeon. I really do not know much about the game structure beyond what we already experienced in the simulation. So I was not sure how it would deliver the story. I feel like we're slowly stealing less and less life from these. I will just eat that, and I will obtain the unidentified flesh. It would be good if that was the opposite. I would love it if I started life stealing more, but... Hey, you know what? This is an experience bone. There's 2 enemies, at least. There's 3 enemies. There's like 5 enemies, actually. As long as I don't blow it. As much damage as I'm taking here, I would be taking so much more if I was surrounded by them. To get footage of the like bad ending of a simulation, I actually just went into the first floor and just let 3 moons surround me. And I was shocked. I was shocked by how fast the health started going down. So like I said, you do want to be in an open space for maneuverability, but I suppose you still want to, you know, be in an open space that doesn't lead to you being surrounded by enemies. A lucky parasite raises your luck when it infests you. I guess we're doing kind of a luck run because I already have the lucky wings. Idiot obtained and uncertain. I don't eat you. I'm going to drop you on the ground so I can pick up this uncertain. Standard items. Let's hope it doesn't explode. Special. Spreads random ailments. Reverse it will heal any ailment. That sounds a little bit like that sounds like you need to be a power user to make the most of it. Details unknown. Wait, branded. Okay, it's only on myself. I'm not about to give myself a tattoo that I don't even know what it looks like. I don't think that's a smart idea. Pick up the armor and head down. Okay, we can probably squeeze in at least 1 more floor for this episode. Depending on how many story revelations / kill rooms we get. I feel like 1 more room is entirely within my purview. I think when I get those like sparks, I think that's a lucky hit. I think that's what lucky hits are. More food on the ground. I don't want to drop the... You know what? I will need this later because 9 defense is a lot of defense right now. Let's open these up. A glass... 16! Holy moly. Okay, and that was just an explosion. 16 attack is quite good. Worm not obtained. You're a rotten seed? What kind of worm are you? Nothing to infest. You're a worm that infests things. 16 attack on the glass sword. Boy. That's gonna be one hell of a get out of jail free card whenever we need to pull out the 16 attack, 9 defense glass equipment. That's not the inventory button. Neither of these are the inventory button. Oh yeesh. I'm kinda getting beat up by these vulgars. And there's yet more. Let's heal up. Let's just do a classic heal up. I suppose nothing's really stopping me from using my arrows to attack. I was just about to say I'm not really getting the big life steals, and I got 3 in a row even. That's the most it's ever been. 4 in a row, and I really needed it. Holy moly, I almost just died there. Lucky. Should I infest myself with another lucky worm? A dead worm came out. Corpse, lucky corpse. Huh? Do I have dead worms in me now? Okay, so that was the first worm that I infested myself with. Which means you can probably only have one worm on you at the same time. Identifies any item it infests. I think the torture, yeah, you're unknown and you're unknown. Knowing what my torturer is, or actually the brand, explosive. When you take damage, it will occasionally trigger an explosion. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's probably an explosion that will hurt us as well as our surroundings. I'm not gonna risk it. I have the nutritive as a... I was just worried about my hit points, but I have a nutritive. Might also luck out and get some food. Getting some food would go hard for me. Isn't this, what's it, Jorgen and Borgen's room? There they are, Jorgen and Borgen. Infest a worm with another worm and you'll have a very convenient composite parasite. After all, I and me are a composite angel, get it? I always parsed... Okay, so he has a wing on his left. I parsed that as a sort of like Back to the Future doctor haircut, but I think that's just a wing. Didn't mean to hurt you. Sorry. Infest a worm with a worm and get a composite parasite. I wonder if that means we could get 2 effects at the same time. Ice attribute sword. Does that freeze people, or is that just like, what you call it, a consumable? I think I'm gonna risk the injection. Okay, that's a detox. That guy, Well, there's two of them. Those two guys? I'm gonna use Big Bang here. Fuck it. Use it or lose it, right? This man on the bicycle wheel is called 17. And he is associated with the 17th major arcana? The star. Some of the enemies, I can 16 on this sword. You gotta be a glass sword. That's gotta be a glass sword. Some of the enemies you can definitely, you know, you can put two and two together. The arcana naming. Like the devil, the empress, you can definitely see why it's that. 17, the star, I'm gonna say to me is a little bit of a mystery. That's not the button I meant to press. I would love to use the paralysis torturer and just kill you for free. That's my dream. Actually, I should also use the experience bone. I wonder if they stack. Surely they don't stack. That would be too crazy. Eyeball for darkness and a storm. I do want the storm. Wait, assault. Raises my attack by 2? What was the other wing that I have? Raises the frequency of critical hits. Ah, that's a hard one to make. That's a hard decision to make. I'm gonna say assault because that's more consistent damage. And maybe more consistent damage is going to give me consistent lifesteal? I don't know how it works. That's just a guess. And this music is so good at creating just an unsettling ass atmosphere. Just that pan left to right. I'm not sure if I'm recording in stereo. I hope I am. But the way that it pans left to right, it's quite powerful. Enduring. Let's use this torture. Arcing. I heard a meow. What's a meow mean? Thunder. A lightning attribute sword. Well, the thunder sword is better attack-wise than the ice sword. Oh, there's a lot of you. Hold on. Blows away nearby grotesques. I think I'm not even gonna bother fighting 3 empresses at the same time. That's kind of scary. What does enduring do? Slow VT deplete. Oh, a less hunger sword, or not the hunger sword, a less hunger wing. That's gonna be good. My cat is so close. What could it mean? What item? I used the arcing trap? Am I meowing? That can't possibly be the case. Surely that's not the case. But I think the mystery of a meowing sound in Baroque is gonna have to wait until next time, because they just saw how long I've been recording, and I think that's gonna be a nice digestible snack of an episode for you guys. So I'm going to hit the suspend option here, and I'm going to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Let's Play Baroque. Hope you have a nice day, and I hope you tune in for next time. See ya!